Really excited to show you today's preview video for tomorrow's private stock event. Everything that we're about to look at in the video will be available on our website, ashlandleather.com, on the private stock page at 12 p.m. noon Central Time, Friday, April 26th. I'm going to start off with my most exciting revelation here. I love gray, and I've been looking for a gray leather for our wallets for quite a long time. It's a really difficult color for the tannery to achieve. And we have the world's first appearance of gray cypress. So this is Horween's cypress leather in a brand new gray color. It seems like people are really digging the cypress leather, both on our Ashland leather wallets, as well as some other footwear brands. I've been really enjoying my brand new gray cypress Fat Herby. I've only worn this for a couple of days. And again, this leather is brand new to the world. It came fresh from the tannery about a week ago. So this is hot off the presses. I thought I'd rush it into this private stock event for tomorrow. Now, speaking of gray leathers, I've got a couple more gray pieces to show you. This is Horween's Latigo leather with a gray full finish on it, as well as a lizard texture. Now, I wore one of these for a couple days and got a ton of comments on it. A lot of positive comments. It's one of those types of leathers that definitely makes an impression, and I'm really digging it too. I should mention that Horween's Latigo leather is not always fully finished like this gray. I mentioned that the gray color is very hard for a tannery to achieve. So in order to get this perfect gray that I was looking for, they had to put a full finish on it. Unlike on the cypress, now this is a full aniline finish, so you can see a little bit more depth of color, a little bit more of a natural appearance. Next up is another gray, a little bit darker this time, and a leather we have done before in a couple of different colors. This Fat Herby is in gunmetal vintage Dover. So we get all this random crazy texture and appearance, a little bit more of a waxy feel, and a little bit darker as well, especially on the top color. But as you flex the leather, the undertones are a little bit lighter. So it's an interesting depth of color on this gunmetal vintage Dover. And one more, a lot lighter for this piece. We're calling this Ivory Dover. It is not the vintage Dover, so we don't have that incredible depth of color. It's a little bit more of a flat appearance, but definitely a beautiful ivory shade. I was going for more of a light gray colored sweatshirt to have for matching on this one, but definitely turned out more of an ivory color, which is also very nice. We also have a contrasting black color stitching along the outside. So let's keep it going with the Fat Herbies. Love the look of the naturally shrunken bison leather that Horween has been putting out recently. Now, this is a very special leather called Yellowstone. It's a naturally shrunken bison grain, but it's also veg tan and then hand tipped. So you get this really interesting depth of color. You'll see the peaks of this bison texture are a little bit darker, more navy blue, and then the undertones are a little bit more of an electric blue. And of course, the great aging characteristics of a veg tan leather. And another one in the naturally shrunken bison. This is bourbon bison from Horween. Love all that intense grain character that the bison has. And speaking of intense character, this is different. This is a gator texture on green and natural shell cordovan for this Fat Herby. Nice matching hand stained edges for this one, and then more green gator on the inside. Keeping it going with the gator texture. This is beautiful. Check this out. I don't even know how this happened, but we're getting an incredible depth of color on this piece of natural shell. At least that's what I believe this color is. It might even be whiskey, but you can see it's a little bit more orange, a little bit darker in certain sections, and then a little bit lighter in others. And I think in the inside of this Herby is where it really shines. Great depth of color, and of course a great random texture, and the Horween ink stamp in the center. Here's another Fat Herby in a classic color. This is the cigar shell cordovan from Horween. We have a nice natural color waxed and burnished edge that really frames out the look of the wallet. And then on the inside, we've got reverse cigar shell cordovan with a Horween USA measuring machine stamp on the left. This says 1.0 square feet. That's how big the area of this particular shell was. And one more Fat Herby. This is a total stunner. This is epic natural shell cordovan on top of violet shell cordovan, more of a straightforward purple shade. And this texture on the epic natural here is something to behold. Look at that. Really, really different piece of natural shell. And this is a texture that the tannery is not able to control. So when we see them like this, we really like to cut them into large pattern pieces to show off all that natural figuring. And on the inside, we've got more violet shell cordovan. We have a couple smaller pieces in the naturally shrunken bison. I know not a lot of people have checked out this leather in person, so we thought we'd make a couple smaller pieces in it. And here's a brand new wallet style, but it looks pretty similar to the Tony the Ant. The difference here is we're calling this the straight 6 Tony. So we have 6 card slots on the inside without the thumb notch card slots. And it has a really, really clean look. On the outside, it's the same as the normal Tony the Ant, but we have the green gator on top of cigar gator and then alternating green and cigar on the inside as well. And I've got some brand new wallets for you. This looks like our normal Bugs Moran, but this is a little bit taller and has 8 card slots on the inside. We have 6 card slots on the left and right, but hidden card slots underneath each of those. So this is a new 8 slot tall Bugs Moran, vertical Bugs Moran. There's a lot of words. We might have to give this one a full name. And then the outside and inside of this wallet has really incredible epic splatter for reverse color 8. And another one, tall vertical Bugs Moran with 8 card slots. Now this is natural shell cordovan, and I'm really curious to see what you guys think of this new design in person. This one also just feels right, perfect size, and then of course extra card slots, which people have been asking us for, so we can delineate more of your cards. And I have some more new stuff. This is a really special overlay underlay small zip wallet that Miranda in our shop has made with a beautiful floral pattern. You can see all the different layers of leather on the outside of this small zip wallet, and I think it turned out great. We have that same pattern on the back as well, and then on the inside of this one we have an old horsehide leather that we haven't used in a while that matches the underlay of this floral pattern. This is a color called mock, and it's a mock horsehide latigo for the inside. And a couple more new things. This is a small zip with some quick access card slots, and this is a great idea from Poncho in our shop as well. So we have green lizard shell cordovan on top of ultraviolet lizard, both on the front and on the back. And then the inside of this one, we have English tan Dublin. Here's another one with some quick access card slots, natural with lizard on top of color 8 Scotch grain this time, which is a really cool combo. And then 2 more card slots on the back with more English tan on the inside. And another makeup here with color 4 lizard on top of green lizard, only 2 card slots on the front of this one. And then the inside we have black horsehide latigo. 2 more to look at. This one has natural hatch grain cordovan on top of gator cigar shell cordovan and then English tan on the inside. And then the last of the small zips here, this is color 4 lizard shell cordovan on top of color 8. And then we have black horsehide latigo on the inside. This one has 4 quick access card slots. And I have so much more to show you guys, including a couple more new designs. We're going to try to pick up the pace. Raw natural shell cordovan for this Johnny the Fox with reverse color 8 on the inside. Here's another one of those fan favorite colors, 100% cigar shell cordovan for this Johnny the Fox. Nice matching hand stained edges for this one, and then cigar shell on the interior. Here's another one that's to me a total stunner. This one was really striking in the photo. Tumbled black shell cordovan, and it looks a little bit more gray in person, and as I spin this around you might be able to see what I'm talking about. I love how this black, the tumbled black here, has a really nice contrasting rust color stitching along the outside. I think that one really works. And here's a look at the inside where we have marbled color 8 shell cordovan. Up next is black shell cordovan, also with that contrasting rust color stitching along the outside edge. And then the inside we have alternating reverse blue on blue shell cordovan. Here's a total special piece. 1940s calfskin in the blonde color. This is leather that was tanned by Horween in the 1940s that they're not able to reproduce again. We do have a little bit of this left, and we thought it'd be fun to make this Tony the Ant out of it, except this Tony has some vertical card slots on the inside, which turned out great. And speaking of 1940s calf, we've got the vertical Frank the Enforcer, but this has the vertical slots on the front and on the back. This is a beautiful piece. I'm going to dwell on this for a second, just because this 1940s calfskin, it's not going to last forever, and I really want to savor it while we have it. Beautiful vertical Frank. So 1, 2 in the front with a hidden card slot underneath, one larger section in the middle that will fit US dollars folded in half, and then the same thing on the back. I have another vertical Frank the Enforcer. This is teal latigo. This one is hand stitched, with a matching teal color stitching. And here's a Frank the Enforcer. It's our 5-slot Frank the Enforcer. So 2 in the front, 2 in the back, 1 in the center. This is made of epic splatter reverse color 8. And then we've got some absolute monsters. This is our long wallet, and this first one is made in raw denim shell cordovan, and it's great to see the raw denim shell cordovan like this in a huge context, because you can definitely see the range of color. We also have a nice matching hand stained edge on this one, and then on the interior, more raw denim shell cordovan with Western marbled blue shell underneath. Up next is another long wallet. This time it is in whiskey shell cordovan. I'm going to spin this one around so you can see the range of color in the whiskey shells. It's very directional in terms of color. So depending on what angle you look at the leather, it might appear a little bit darker like this, or a little bit lighter like this. It's sort of our fun leather parlor trick that we like to play. On the inside of this one, we have more whiskey shell cordovan. And here's a really cool one. This is reverse green shell cordovan with some really cool dye splatter. We've got hand stained edges, also in the green color. And then on the inside, we have reverse green on top of green shell cordovan. And the last of the long wall, it's also a total stunner. And I should have mentioned, these are heavy. This is super dense. I actually am surprised at how heavy these long wallets are. They feel great. So this is ultraviolet shell cordovan. I'll give this one a spin so you guys can see the range of color in this piece. We have matching hand stained ultraviolet edges and then more ultraviolet shell cordovan for the inside. All right, more new stuff. Bugs Moran. And I think this is dark whiskey shell cordovan. I forget what I'm calling this one, but certainly it looks like the golden color of whiskey shell, but a little bit darker than normal. And then the inside, we've got the vertical card slots. Here's another vertical Bugs Moran. This one is color 8 shell cordovan, the classic cordovan color, dark brown and burgundy shade with reverse color 8 on the inside. And the splatter on this one looks incredible. And one more, I haven't seen a lot of this leather. This is raw green shell cordovan with a matching hand stained green edge. And then check out the inside of this guy. Really cool reverse green interior. And then I've got some more of these new wallet styles. This is our Joe Batters. It's kind of like our Capone money clip. Instead of having the money clip, we have an open bill slot compartment on the outside, but everything else is about the same. So we have 2 quick access card slots on the outside with 2 card slots in the inside. And then we have this thing called the skip stitch, where we stitch it a little bit lower, and then it gives you a little bit more easy access to your cash on the back. One more Joe Batters to show you. This one is in brown cypress. Here's another new wallet. This is our Lucky wallet in reverse blue shell cordovan, and we have a hand-stitched pea green color stitching along the outside. Here's another stunner. Lots of stunners today. This is a Tony the Ant in Western textured marbled ultraviolet shell cordovan. I want to give this one a spin for you because it is a really dynamic color. Nice hand stained edges on this piece, as well as more marbled Western ultraviolet and ultraviolet on the interior. Here's what I think is the most underrated color. Black shell cordovan has a really futuristic look to me. I love the luster and shine when you see it on a black color, especially when you get to see this contrasting texture. So we've got black gator shell cordovan on top of smooth black shell cordovan, contrasting green color stitching along the outside, and then reverse on the interior with 2 ink stamps. Another Tony the Ant to show you. This one is an epic texture brown nut Dublin, both on the outside and on the inside. Here's another epic texture brown nut Dublin. This is the Capone money clip. And we got some more new stuff. This is kind of like the small zip, except we're calling it the prototype gusseted card case. So lizard textured ultraviolet shell cordovan on the outside. We've got a quick access slot on the back in the lizard green shell, and then English tan Dublin on the center. And this one's all snaps closed. All right, same as the last one. This time is all ultraviolet shell cordovan, really beautiful sort of purpley pink shade. And then we've got the Western ultraviolet on the back. And then this one has black on the inside. Here's one in gator cigar shell cordovan, more of a straightforward brown. And then we have natural gator on the back quick access card slot with black on the interior. And speaking of black, black gator for the last gusseted card case, and it's smooth black horsehide latigo on the interior. This one does not have a quick access slot on the back. And we're almost there. Only a few more things to look at. Bugs Moran, reverse interior on the outside of this. We've got, I believe, amaretto shell cordovan. Here's one with hatch grain textures. Hatch grain cigar on top of hatch grain whiskey, I believe. Here's a beautiful piece. Whiskey shell cordovan on the outside. Really great piece of shell. And then on the interior, we have whiskey on reverse natural, I think. Here's the stunner, green shell cordovan. I don't think we see enough green. And I think I want to get more green shells from the tannery because this is beautiful, especially with the complementing green color stitching on the outside and the reverse interior. Another reverse interior. This one has a really clean look. We've got cigar on the outside with reverse cigar on the inside. Now here's a funky one. I'm calling this marbled cigar because it has a depth of color that does not look like the normal cigar, although I'm not certain that this was marbled in the same way that all the shells are, but you can see it ranges from a darker, more coffee brown to a little bit lighter caramel shades. And then the inside, we have a reverse interior. Here's another piece in the epic texture brown nut Dublin. And this is a funky one. This is a color that does not exist. And I believe this was a prototype color from Horween that we're calling watermelon. I don't know if they were calling it that, but it definitely is more red than even the garnet shell cordovan. And I'm going to take a little bit of extra time here just to demonstrate the color and document it because it Watermelon's almost the perfect color for it. It looks like a bright summer watermelon. Definitely more red, but almost like a neon red. It's kind of neat. And here's a look at the inside. Now this one was my favorite of the bugs. This is color 4 shell cordovan. It's got some modeling going on, but the shell itself is super, super smooth and nice. It almost has a little bit more vibrance and orange when compared to normal color 4 shell. And then we've got this contrasting green color stitching along the outside, which really just works. I love the way that this one looks. It's also very, very thin. And then the inside with all these hand stained edges, this one just feels extra complete to me, to my tastes. And I love it. It's a little bit overboard on the inside with the stamping. And the last wallet we'll look at before we get to some smaller pieces is a remarkable piece of epic grain on the English tan Dublin. Check out the texture on this guy. They're very, very intense, and it's about as intense as it gets. Now, people have been asking us for these, so we made some special stuff. I've got some Bic lighter and lighter sheets in cordovan colors with hand stitching. Now, this first one here is reverse dip dyed amaretto shell cordovan with that blue hand stitching. Up next is the Western green shell cordovan with like a cool contrasting green color hand stitching. Here's one in psychedelic shell cordovan that might take a second for me to properly show off the color, but it ranges from a purple down to a little bit more green, which is really, really neat to look at. Here's one in raw ultraviolet shell cordovan. This is reverse ultraviolet with a teal color hand stitching. Here we have cigar gator shell cordovan hand stitched. Another one with gator that's hand stitched. This is gator green. I guess let's stick with gator. We've got gator denim blue shell cordovan for this 20 millimeter watch strap. So 20 millimeters at the lugs, and then we taper 2 millimeters to the buckle. And we also have normal smooth denim blue shell cordovan and green shell cordovan. All of these are 20 millimeter regular lengths. And let's cap it off with some watch bands. I didn't put the hardware on here so you can select which color hardware you would like. We have the black and silver hardware. This is Western texture whiskey shell cordovan. Now these are 2-layer straps. So there's 2 thicknesses of shell on these, and then we hand stitch it all together. I have another one here in natural gator shell cordovan, but also 2 layers and hand stitched. And the last one is ultraviolet shell cordovan. 2-layer straps with that sort of pink color hand stitching along the outside. Great stuff in tomorrow's drop. If you have any questions about any of these pieces, definitely let me know. I'm coming back right here. We're going back to 1940. The 1940s calf is so cool. If people don't pick this one up and appreciate it, I'd be really, really surprised. Both this as well as that vertical frank that we had earlier. Check this guy out again. Really great color. I'd love to, I don't know, I wish I could invest money into the tannery to have them just spend more time to develop this. I know they've already spent decades trying to reproduce this leather and have never gotten it quite right. But it's a real shame because it's just so, so nice. And again, everything in the video, including the 1940s calfskin frank here, will be available at 12 p.m. noon Central Time, Friday, April 26th. Thank you for checking out the video today and nerding out on some leather with me. Until next time, hope you have a good one and take care.